Welcome to the Still Gender Podcast, Earthlings. This is the show where we will dive into taboo topics and the stuff we didn't learn in school. Here we will talk about actionable tips, tricks, and strategies for the out-of-the-box thinkers, dreamers, and weird folks who don't quite fit in with the cultural norms, who just want to live authentically too. No more feeling misunderstood or alone, because here we are all a little strange, and that is celebrated. I'm talking to you, Misfit, and I am your mother, Misfit, Laura Stiljander. So let's start practicing compassion with ourselves and push that love and light out to others. Yeehaw! Let's go. My Earthlings, you are back, or you are here for the first time. Greetings, salutations, and whatever. How are you doing? Check in to see what your mood is like right now. Happy, sad, mad, pissed off. I say it's good to label it and just hang out right there. I think sometimes when we're in a bad mood, we're so quick to be in a good mood sometimes, like, oh, I need to switch this around, or I need to be positive, or this is so uncomfortable to feel bad that I don't want to feel like this anymore. And sometimes we just need to hang out there. Do you feel me? Now, I'm not saying be a jerk to everybody, but just notice if you're in a bad mood. And when little tiny things start to get underneath your skin and you're like, well, why is that? What's going on there? Yeah, I think that's important. I think it's important to know where you're at. Like this morning, I'm a little bit irritable because I did not sleep well. So it's good to know that. I am irritable, so let's keep that in check. But I have fled for Hurricane Dorian that came through my town. Not too much destruction, but a little bit turned upside down from that. It got me thinking about maybe not a natural disaster that turns your world around, even if it's for a few days, a few weeks, a few years, if you're grieving someone or something. But I feel a little burnt out, and I know that I'm not the only one out there at all. I see this over and over again. We're burnt out, stressed out. It affects our sleep, the way we eat, the way we treat ourselves and other people, and how to keep that under wraps, how to figure this whole situation out where we're not constantly in this like burnout mode. I wouldn't say that I'm burnt out often, but when it happens, it's time for me to sit back and reflect on that. And so that's what I wanted to bring you, my burnt out, misfit, beautiful person. Why are we so burnt out and stressed? The word anxiety gets thrown around a lot. Oh, I feel anxious about this. As a person in the mental health field, I don't love that term. As it was taught to me, is a diagnosis. And the DSM, which is the holy grail for anyone in the mental health field who diagnose people. You have to fall under certain categories. You have to be experiencing symptoms for a certain amount of time. And I know the word anxious gets thrown around in our culture a lot. So if you want to use the word anxious, whatever. That's totally fine. But I'll refer to it as anxious, but not in the diagnosis term. Burnt out and stressed out. What's going on, y'all? Oh my gosh. Let's talk about this, please. Let's start from the top, maybe, of why, perhaps, and what we could change to feel less burnt out. So I'm going to call it the nasty cocktail of stress, burnout, and anxiety. It's going to be our nasty cocktail that makes you feel like dirt in the morning. Maybe not dirt, like crud. I'm not allowed to curse on this podcast because I have it labeled as clean. So why are we so burnt out? How do we get our life back from feeling so burnt out and stressed all the time? I say we need to ask ourselves a few questions and to change a few behaviors. Something that I am trying on this semester and in this season of my life is actually saying the word no. You heard it right. I am actually saying the word no. I know we were brought up to say things like say yes to all experiences and all opportunities. However, I feel like that leads to burnout. When you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And that something else could be you time on your yoga mat, time to take yourself for a walk. So anytime you say yes, anytime you commit to even drinks with a friend, to an extra project at work, you are saying no to something else. You know, poor old Warren Buffett, like that old guy who has like these really powerful quotes that just like punch you in the gut. I just came across a quote from him saying, quote, the difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything, end quote. So again, this is Warren Buffett, very successful professionally and very well off saying this. I think that if we say yes to that extra shift and yes to all these extra stuff, that we're going to get further in our career. But what we could really be doing to ourselves are burning ourselves out. We're drinking from that nasty cocktail because we're putting so much on our plate that it's overflowing and we can't finish it and we feel like dirt. And just side note, in case you were wondering, you don't want to feel like dirt. Dirt does not feel good. I really don't know why I keep saying dirt. So I'm not saying to say no to everything like Warren Buffett. I don't think any of us are at his caliber quite yet, but I would pay more attention to what are you saying yes to? Is there something extra in your sorority that you just have to say no to? Is there an extra project at work that you just know will be a time sucker? And are you getting compensated for it? How are you getting compensated for it? Weigh the pros and cons. I actually said no to someone maybe about a week ago, who asked me to do something that I was just like, that's going to be a time sucker. It's nothing that I'm interested in, but it would be a nice thing to do. And I said no. And the person was kind of like, wait, what? And I said, yeah, I have to say no. My plate is too full. And I felt a little guilty. But you know what? I don't have to commit to this thing anymore. I'm free of it. So I guess number one is, what are you saying yes and no to? I know we're yes people. Perhaps try on saying no. The reaction will be a little bit strange and you may feel a little bit guilt, but I hope you feel more relief. Number 2. I don't know what accent that was, but it felt really good off the tongue. Maybe you should try it. Number 2, who are we doing all of this stuff for? If you're in college, are you in college for you, or are you in college because your parents force you to go to college? Who are you getting your degree for you or for them? I know that sounds strange coming from someone who works at a university, but it's pretty obvious the people who want to be there and the people who are just going through the motions and just doing the thing. And if you're in the workforce, did you know that you're going to spend a quarter of your life there? So are you working in a way, or for someone, or maybe for yourself, in a way that's authentic to you, that you care about? If you're working for something that you don't really care about, I could totally see why you feel stressed and burnt out, because you're spending a quarter of your life doing something you really don't care for. And a lot of us feel the pressure to get like the fancy job and the office with all the windows, and we have the societal, or maybe our families or our friends, we're trying to impress them and get that swanky job. However, most people, when they're there, they're not satisfied because they're working for someone or something that they're not in it for the right reasons. It's not for them, it's for other people. Which brings me to the third thing. You've heard me say this before, or perhaps someone else, that humans are made for connection. We want to connect with one another. On the more extreme side, which, hey, I'm so guilty of this too, I find that we sometimes try to impress people, whether it's people at work, our family, our friends, or the person we don't even know. Like the person at the gym, like, check out how much I can lift, or how much I can go on this stair climber. Like, we try to impress people and we're burnt out by it. It could be the way you look, act, what you're doing at the gym, what you're buying at the grocery store, the car that you drive when you pull up next to someone. We're spending so much time trying to impress people, but we only have ourselves to impress. We only have ourselves to please. And I know this is normal. We want to connect with humans, but at what cost? At what point do we have to say, look, I'm in this life for me. I know my family and friends are important to me, but I really need to live with integrity. Because when you don't, you get stressed, you get burnt out, and you get anxious because you're playing like keep up and you're always behind and it's never enough. I mean, think about it in a yoga practice. Someone next to you is taking the third option and it's the hardest option, where he or she is balancing on her fingertips and you want to do it. You feel like you should do it too. It can manifest everywhere. And if we don't catch it, we just find ourselves trying to keep up. I mean, I won't even have to go into this, but the Instagram, there we go, mic drop. I should just walk away right now. But I'm not, because I have a fourth idea that I really, really want to point out and share with you. When we don't eat well, when we don't sleep well, and when we don't take care of ourselves, we're going to feel lousy, which is going to lead us to feel burnout because we're not performing well, because we're eating horrible foods, or we're going out and drinking every night, and we're not going to excel in the ways that we want to because we're not taking care of our only thing that we have, which is our body. When you don't take care of the body, of course, you're going to experience burnout, stress, and anxiety. I mean, just think about it. Let's say you got like 3 hours of sleep last night and you're cranky and you're irritable and you're emotional and all you want are carbohydrates because your hormones are all over the place. I mean, that's just one small example. I guess what I'm trying to say is give a darn about your body, baby. Sometimes I like to pretend I have a country accent. And the last thing I really want to cover is digital burnout. You heard it right. Digital burnout definitely makes you take a sip of that nasty cocktail. It was really sad. I'm going to tell you a little short story. I was in the kitchen and my wife got up from her computer and just started crying. And I was like, what is going on? Like, what happened? Did you read something? Someone die? And she goes, I sat here for 5 minutes and 10 emails came through. 10 emails. She's like, I can't keep up. And I'm so just burned out by this whole thing. Can you relate to that maybe in a different way? Maybe it's emails, DMs, text messages, voicemails to listen to. Like, our computers or phones are amazing tools. They're amazing tools. Like, imagine all the things that we can do now that we couldn't do 5 years ago. They're so incredible. But we are supposed to own our stuff. But when does our stuff start to own us? When does our computer and our feeds and our emails, when do those things start to own you? Here's the thing. If you don't keep a close watch on this, you're going to wander your way into this digital burnout space where you're constantly on your feed, or you're constantly on your timeline, emails, text messages. You wander into this, but you don't wander out unless you make it an intentional goal, unless you want to wander out. You don't just put your phone down and walk away. You're going to pick it up 5 minutes later. Y'all, I'm so guilty of this too. So stinking guilty, and I'm trying, just ration my time. Hey, I'm gonna go on Instagram when it's a commercial break, when I'm watching one of my shows. Right now I got the free trial of HBO and I'm watching Gentleman Jack. Wonderful little plug for you. But anyway, or I'm gonna go on Instagram like between meetings, but not after that. I won't be on my phone when I'm talking to people. I won't be on my phone when I'm hanging out with my friends or family. Just setting some boundaries with your devices. That's it. It's not like you can't be on it. It's horrible. It's just setting some boundaries, because you're going to wander into this and you don't wander out until you make it an intention. So those are just some food for thoughts if you're sipping from this nasty cocktail of burnout, stress, and anxiety. And I bet you if you just implement one of these 5 strategies into your life, perhaps your burnout will decrease. So again, what can you say no to? What can you take off your plate? Who are you working or going to school for? Who are you trying to impress? Because it's somebody. That's just the way that we're wired. So really sit down and think about, who is it? Or maybe you'll catch yourself in daily life doing this. Are you nurturing your body with sleep and good foods? Because that's going to throw you into a tailspin. And last but not least, digital burnout. Are you being intentional with your screen time? I hope this helps your burnout. I hope you stop drinking from that nasty cocktail. And I hope I did too. That's all for this week. Hang in there. You've got this. Practice compassion with your thoughts, with your words, and with your actions. My sweet earthlings, I really appreciate you, and I hope you have a great day. Shalom. Oh, you're still here. If you want a little bit more, go ahead and go over to laurasiljander.com or follow me on IG at practice_compassion if you want to. But remember, ration that time. And if you would, share this with someone, a loved one, a friend that you think could benefit from it. Meow!